As thousands of students head back to the classroom in South Carolina today, we're verifying some changes to the vaccine schedule that you should be aware of. And you may have spotted Snoop Dogg out at several Olympic events this week. We connect the dots on how he became the unofficial mascot for Team USA. Well, good morning and thank you for joining us here at 10 a.m. I'm Nick Sturdivant. We're following today's top stories, but first, a look at today's forecast. It's another day to stay weather aware, and it's going to feel really hot the next few days. Let's take a look outside. This is a live look over uptown, courtesy of our view camera. It's a perfect time, Chris, exact time to get out there, take a stroll, go for a run, walk the dog. But as the day goes on, Chris Mulcahy, it is going to be hot.
And we're weather aware kind of for two reasons, too, because, Nick, yet again, it's a hot day and then it turns into a stormy day all of a sudden. But it's a delightful start to the day. We have lots of sunshine. Look at the Speedway camera. Those bright Carolina blues are shining bright. Temperatures right now up to 84 degrees here at 10 o'clock. It's already 84 at 10. That means we're going to be at 90 by noon. And then we're expecting the mid 90s today. So it's going to be weather aware the next 2 days. And that's because we could have a heat index up to 105. That's why we're under a heat advisory from Mecklenburg County down to the south. But you notice that umbrella. You might need it a little bit later on. Smack dab right around the 3 to 6 o'clock window. That's where I think we have the highest potential for storms. Also, additional cloud cover is going to put a cap on our warm up. We had a beautiful sunny sky all day long. Likely we could even hit the upper 90s. But we do have a low risk per the Storm Prediction Center for some strong to severe storms. Right now we already see this little area of rain starting to die out across the mountains, but it's going to re-trigger. Once it hits that peak heat and humidity that we have in place, this high pressure system is also going to slide out of frame. That's going to be our storm potential. So we're starting to see our storms bubble up. I'd really say right around 3 to 6 is where we're seeing most of this, starting in the foothills, jogging down towards the southeast through the Charlotte area. And then once you get to the evening, they're fizzling out as the sun is setting. But coming up, I'm going to let you know all the storm chances you expect heading into the weekend, as well as your full weekend forecast.
Chris, well, the suspect accused of shooting and killing a man in South Charlotte is now being considered for the death penalty. Eric Watson is charged in connection to the death of Derek Baez. Police found Baez dead in his car 3 weeks ago on Ray Road. There's still no word on what led up to the shooting. Watson will be back in court later this month. Well, now to an update on the story we've been staying on top of this week. We now know what caused a massive sinkhole to open near Bank of America Stadium in Uptown. The city of Charlotte says a broken storm water pipe led to a break in the water line, which caused the hole. Right now, crews are working to fix the pipe and then fill the opening. But there's still no timeline on when that work is expected to be completed. Well, this morning, folks in Charlotte are asking where's the money after a new audit into Charlotte's Vision Zero program. Charlotte adopted the program 5 years ago in an effort to end traffic deaths in the city by 2030. But despite spending millions of dollars, the audit shows the program is not having a significant impact. Now, some city leaders are pushing to do more.
The report is pretty clear that we are failing the residents of Charlotte. City Council and mayor has poured in millions of dollars to save lives. And if those dollars are not being used the way it was intended to, then certainly we are failing.
Now, this report did offer some recommendations about what the city can do differently. Ideas include focusing CMPD resources on high injury areas and investigating crashes for infrastructure improvements. Another restaurant is closing its doors at Camp North End. Owners of Blue Farm announced their last day will be this Sunday. They say they can no longer afford to keep their restaurant open because of rising costs. The news comes after several other restaurants tell us they're struggling to keep their doors open in Camp North End as well. Well, it is hard to believe it's finally here, but today is the first day back for thousands of families in our area. We're talking about back to school. As we speak, students at York County, District 1, Chester County, and Clover are already back in the classroom. And we're learning several schools in Clover are getting some much needed upgrades. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards has the details.
It's the first day of school for Clover School District, and thousands of students are back in the classroom this morning. Like other South Carolina school districts in our area, the number of students enrolled continues to grow each year. Because of this growth, students at Clover High School will see some new renovations, and construction is starting for 3 new schools that will open in fall 2026.
And as kids start to head back, one item on the back to school checklist that parents will want to check off is that yearly physical. And for parents in South Carolina, there are some changes to the vaccine schedule you should be aware of. WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg explains in today's Verify.
Well, this year, the South Carolina Department of Public Health made changes to its vaccine requirements. But does it mean kids have to get more shots? Let's verify. Our sources, the South Carolina Department of Public Health, Dr. Brennan Traxler, the chief medical officer for the South Carolina Department of Public Health, and Dr. Carlos Paxter, a pediatrician at Carolina Pediatrics. According to the South Carolina Department of Public Health, none of these are newly required vaccines. Instead, the changes reflect the fact that more grade levels are being added. Dr. Traxler says it's basically just a timeline change.
We have not added any required vaccines to the schedule in at least several years. And so it is just the age at which people are now being required to get them.
There is a reason why these vaccines have been scheduled at specific times, and is so that your immunity is induced at a certain age.
The changes are on your screen. They affect incoming 4th, 9th, 10th, and 12th graders. Dr. Traxler says if you haven't already gotten your kids' vaccines, you'll want to book an appointment soon. If you can't get in before the start of school, there is a grace period.
I think it is up to a 30-day kind of grace period, but they do need to communicate with the school about that. They do need to provide what documentation they have. And sometimes the school may have them fill out a form just attesting that they're getting it.
So we can verify that no, the vaccine timeline changes from the South Carolina Department of Public Health does not mean kids have to get more vaccines than before. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
And if you have something you would like verified, let us know. You can email us at verify@wcnc.com. A heads up for parents looking to save on school supplies. South Carolina's tax-free weekend kicks off tomorrow. From tomorrow until Sunday, you can buy items like computers, pencils, notebooks, and clothing, all without paying sales tax, both online and in stores. Last year, shoppers in the Palmetto State spent more than $30 million during tax-free weekend. Right now, 3 bills are heading to the North Carolina Senate after House lawmakers overruled several vetoes from Governor Roy Cooper. The first bill allows the state DMV to expand what types of vehicles could be allowed on state roads, including all-terrain and utility vehicles. The second would have changed several laws involving tenancy, notaries, and small claims court. And the third blocks state agencies from taking payments with digital currency like crypto. However, state senators won't vote on the bills until they return to session next month. Meanwhile, starting today, North Carolina's Medicaid program will cover over-the-counter birth control pills at no additional cost. O-Pill will now be available without a prescription at more than 300 pharmacies statewide. Right now, nearly 3 million North Carolinians are on Medicaid, 56% of which are women. In the last 2 hours, we have learned Russia and the United States have agreed to a prisoner swap. It's expected to secure the release of 3 Americans imprisoned there, including Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, Marine veteran Paul Whelan, and Russian-American radio journalist Alsu Kurmasheva. Gershkovich and Whelan were both arrested and accused of espionage, claims that the White House consistently disputed. The swap also reportedly includes multiple prisoners with ties to American allies. No word yet on who exactly will be returning to Russia. Well, reactions are pouring in this morning after former President Donald Trump made some controversial comments at a conference for black journalists. While on stage, Trump falsely claimed that Vice President Harris only recently identified as black. This despite having a black father, attending a historically black college, and being a current member of a black sorority. Take a listen.
I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black? I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
The Harris campaign responded to Trump's comments shortly after, saying, quote, "Today's tirade is simply a taste of the chaos and division that has been a hallmark of Trump's MAGA rallies this entire campaign." The White House also reacting overnight, calling the remarks insulting. Meantime, the accused mastermind behind the 9/11 terrorist attacks has agreed to plead guilty alongside 2 other co-conspirators. The details of the plea agreement have not been released, but the defendants are expected to plead guilty to lesser charges that would spare them the death penalty. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was captured in Pakistan back in 2003 and has been held in Guantanamo Bay ever since. We're learning Hawaii could soon receive a settlement for the deadly Maui wildfire last year. Governor Josh Green tells AP News the deal could be worth up to $4 billion. The details could be finalized in the coming days, just short of the 1-year anniversary. Now, the wildfire killed more than 100 people and led to more than 600 lawsuits. Well, now turning back to your forecast, we're reminding you to stay weather aware today because, simply put, Chris, it's going to be hot.
Yeah, I think that's it. All right, my job here is done. It's going to be hot. Now, it's going to be hot where we're going to have heat index up to about 105. But also, it's kind of a double-edged sword because we also have a chance for storms because all that heat and humidity, it rises up and condenses. Won't get into the technical process, but it leads to thunderstorms. So 96 is what we're expected around the Charlotte area. 96, that's not too hot, but then when you factor in how muggy it is today, yeah, it'll feel close to 100 to 105 through much of the afternoon. That's why Mecklenburg, Gaston County, Union, York, naming a few, down through Chester, also Chesterfield and Lancaster County. We're under a heat advisory and from noon until 7 p.m. The further south you go, I think you will have a better chance for a higher heat index closer to 105. So if it's from noon to 7, the impacts are going to be that dangerous heat. Anything over 103, that's going to lead to a better chance of heat exhaustion. So stay cool, my friends. If you're feeling kind of overexerted or you have heavy sweating, even feeling nauseous, that's an immediate sign that you need to go inside. If you get to this stage, by the way, and you're feeling nauseous, you don't want to get to the next one because that might be too far gone at that point. So listen to what your body's telling you. Stay weather aware. Stay safe. 105 is the peak today. 107 tomorrow, since it will be a little bit warmer. And then heading into the weekend, I've removed this from the weather aware status for the heat because we're only going to have a 102. So we're pretty close. Still feeling like 100. It's a hot day, but the storms, I think, are really going to bring this temperature down where it might only hit 90 degrees barely before the storms roll in. Because you notice one day stands out from all the rest. Yeah, a likely chance for storms on Saturday, but it's today. Tomorrow, don't really see a big change here in the map, and on Saturday that we have a low risk for severe storms. So any storm that pops could produce gusty winds over 60 miles per hour. That'll be the main threat. So let's go through all the rain chances. Here's today. Really starting at noon, you could see a shower. We're already seeing some activity right around the mountains right now. It's between about noon to 3. That's where we first see it from the foothills and then west of I-77. So mid to late afternoon is where the Charlotte area is going to be impacted. This is more of an afternoon event compared to the evening because once the sun sets, we lose a lot of the energy. And then there's a dying system that could impact a little bit of rain up in the mountains. By the early morning hours, it shouldn't get to the Charlotte area. Round 2. Through the afternoon on Friday, same thing goes. Starts in the foothills to the northwest, jogs its way to the southeast. Mid to late afternoon is we're seeing this activity. But this is the change here for Friday. Friday, I think early evening, we're good. We're in the clear. But then a second round of showers and storms. Some of these could be strong. It's a good time of day that's going to limit our severe activity. But that's going to dump some heavy rain. The reason here is because you have a trough that's stalled across the area. That's going to trigger up storms a little bit earlier, especially from Charlotte down to the southeast Saturday afternoon. So if you have any plans from Monroe to the east, you're going to have a much better chance for storms on Saturday. Here are the two pieces on the board. It's the trough that really affects us on Friday heading into Saturday morning, and it's a cold front that wedges in a little extra activity for your Saturday. Sunday, just a general chance for pop-up showers and thunderstorms. As I said yesterday, a cool 90 degrees, 90 to 93 Sunday through Wednesday. No weather aware days there, at least for now.
A cool 90-degree day, Chris. Well, you can stay weather aware with our WCNC Charlotte mobile app. It has an hour-by-hour and 10-day forecast that is updated by our Weather Impact team to help you plan out your week. Just scan the QR code right there on your screen to download our app. Day 6 of the 2024 Olympics now underway, and in just 2 hours, Team USA Simone Biles and Sunny Lee compete for gold in the women's all-around final in gymnastics. Lee hoping to defend her title as Olympic champion, and Biles looking to pick up where she left off in Rio after missing the event in Tokyo. And if you're paying attention to the Olympic Games, you may have noticed Snoop Dogg in the audience. WCNC Charlotte's Ben Thompson connects the dots.
Snoop's appearance at the Paris Games is part of a big makeover, years in the making. Let's connect the dots. After having success in the early 90s, the rapper rebranded his image and started expanding his ventures, going on to involve himself with names like Martha Stewart and joining forces with a wine company. For decades, Snoop Dogg has been a household name with millions of followers and a whole lot of fans. In 2021, NBC asked him to host highlights with Kevin Hart and Snoop Dogg during the Olympic Games in Tokyo. Snoop's highlights went viral, prompting NBC to bring him back in an expanded role for this year's games. And he's already been all over Paris, carrying the Olympic torch, dancing with gymnastics stars Simone Biles and Jordan Childs, and getting swim lessons from Michael Phelps. And that is connecting the dots.
I mean, who has a better job than Snoop Dogg?
I'm proud to say Snoop Dogg is our mascot.
Yes.
Greatest mascot you possibly could ever have. But what a personality, because all the stuff that he does, have you ever heard his commentary on just like kind of like National Geographic?
Yeah.
It's the best thing in the entire world. Snoop, we love you. And I think it's going to get us to the most medals just because Snoop's there alone.
And next up, maybe Sunday Night Football here on NBC.
Do you know what? We need more Snoop. Start the petition right now.
Yes. Hashtag more Snoop. All right.
I like it.
And a reminder that while the Olympics will be on WCNC today, we still got your news covered and headlines covered. We'll be streaming live again at 2:30 p.m. So you can find that on our website, WCNC.com, or inside our mobile app.
See ya.
Have a great morning.